Hi, everyone. Back at the Marriott in Washington, D.C. We're at the House of Delegates, and we're Dean's Chat on location. We're super excited about this weekend. Joanne and I flew in to have a couple of really interesting days with the House of Delegates. This is your first time here, Jo.
It is, yeah.
And this is my second or third time here. And so I'm really excited about what's coming ahead.
Yeah, there's some really interesting things that are kind of up for vote. There's some very interesting discussion, a couple things that have potentially really big repercussions for the profession, both with young members, students, possibly the way that we govern the educational branches. So there's a lot of really interesting things happening.
No doubt, not to mention budgets and things too.
Absolutely, yeah. And Megan McClellan is going to make her appearance for the true representation for the whole society. And there's a lot of, I think, anticipation. So really excited to see kind of how it all plays out.
Well, our plan is to bring in some leaders to have little 2 to 5 minute interviews. We'll bring in some students.
Yeah.
We'll bring in some leaders of the state associations. We'll bring in some practitioners, and hopefully we'll even get an interview with the new president, Brooke Bisbee, and our new CEO, Megan McClellan. So we're super excited about this episode, and we can't wait to bring it to you.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Until next time.
Hi, everyone. We're back at Dean's Chat on location. It's Sunday afternoon. We've been at the House of Delegates meeting for APMA. It's been a phenomenal weekend, Patrick.
Yeah, the momentum from this meeting is palpable. And there are several reasons for this, but I think the biggest sort of take home for me with this House of Delegates is unity within the profession and a clear vision of where we need to go with a plan on how to get there. And everybody's rowing in the same direction, which is so refreshing.
How about that vote for the students today?
So that took a little bit of backroom politicking, which a lot of people don't realize how much of that goes on here. But initially it failed by 1 vote yesterday, and we asked for some of those from the quote unquote winning side to, if they fully understood the policy proposition, which they did not. So then we just needed one person to ask for a reconsideration. The reconsideration vote passed. And then with some education for those people who didn't fully understand what that referendum vote was to allow students to vote in referendums. Some people are using the wrong terminology, like resolutions instead of referendums. They're different, and it can be confusing if you're not in the middle of it. And once we clarified some of those things, then it passed today pretty easily, which was just I think a really important statement to our students. As I got up yesterday, and I kind of was a little bit aggressive in my approach, the students have skin in the game. They should have a voice.
Absolutely. It just warmed my heart to see that get turned around.
Yeah,
today.
Me too.
Because now we get to go back to Arizona and share with the students, you are our future. You have a direct impact in shaping the future. That's a big message.
Oh, it is a big message. And the executive committee for APMA, which is the immediate past president, which we don't have one this year, but a president-elect, and then treasurer, we don't really caucus at this House of Delegates because we're kind of, ascending to these positions already. But this year, we only went to one caucus, and it was the Young Physicians Caucus. And we thought it was important, and we just had about a good 20-minute discussion with them this morning about the future and how they're the future. We're trying to build the future for them. And our future was determined from those giants who preceded us, like Earl Kaplan and Teddy Clark, who's from my state of Indiana, Ollie Foster. There's just, the names are never ending, but Dalton McLamry, all those people have put us where we are today. So it's our responsibility to put this next generation and continue to move everything forward.
Well, to that end, paying it forward, right after that vote, we had the Educational Foundation discussion, and I was blown away to see so many delegates and associations, chapters, individuals, all donated into that huge educational fund for scholarships.
Yeah, we gave over $447,000 last year in scholarships to 236 students. I think those are roughly the numbers off the top of my head, but school's expensive. We understand that, but this is a way for people to help pay it forward and help ease that financial burden for those students who are coming up behind us, because it certainly has changed a lot, the cost of going to school from when I went to school. And it wasn't cheap then, but it's even more expensive now. And when we can facilitate really talented people coming into the profession and help them get through the school without the financial burden they would have otherwise, it makes an impact on the whole profession at all levels.
Absolutely. I was also really excited to see that budget fly through, no issues.
Yeah, especially for our branding initiative.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's so exciting.
It's going to be awesome.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Right.
Thanks again,
Yeah,
Pat, for all you do. Hey everyone, Dean's Chat on location. We're here at APMA's House of Delegates meeting in Washington, D.C. I'm with the current Board of Trustees of the APMA, Dr. Scott Hughes. Welcome.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Hey, this has been an exciting meeting so far. A lot of action, a lot of interesting propositions. There was a great budget meeting this morning. What's the vibe on your end, being a Board of Trustees?
Well, you know, we have a new executive director, and she is a force of nature and a really breath of fresh air for all of us. With her background as an MBA instead of a podiatrist, she brings a perspective that we haven't had before, and we are reorganizing, and I'm so impressed with her ability in 6 months to not only sort of diagnose whatever the problems might be in the organization, but to come up with a plan and already be implementing that plan that we're seeing results. For example, we haven't had a membership drive in at least 5 years. We've already added 108 new members, which is the first time that the trend has gone up instead of down. And I've been on the board for 8 years, so I couldn't be more excited.
Well, I just thought it was a great meeting this morning because Megan laid out her plan. She said, "Here's where we are, and this is where we're going," and I couldn't believe it. She got a standing ovation afterwards. And
that never has happened in the history of APMA at a finance committee meeting. So
yeah, usually finance isn't that exciting, but
no.
I think people can see the vision of the future, and it's a function of all of us coming together and working together to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, AA is an essential part of that. And I think, you were one of the people years ago kind of ringing the bell about student recruitment and that sort of thing. And part of the frustration I've had in the past is that what our vision for that was going to be really didn't come to fruition. And part of that was because of the leadership or lack of leadership or whatever management from APMA. And as a trustee, I've been committed to changing that. And so I couldn't be more excited now today to say, okay, I really think that we got all our oars pulling in the right direction and that we're going to be able to do something impactful to improve the situation going forward.
It's the dawning of a new day.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my
as
pleasure.
always.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, Dean's Chat on location. We're at the Marriott in Washington, D.C., APMA House of Delegates. I'm here with my friend, Dr. Lee Rogers. Welcome to Dean's Chat on location.
On location, again, like the 4th or 5th time maybe.
Yeah, last time we were in Iceland.
Iceland, yeah.
And then we were in San Antonio.
That's right.
And here we are. What do you think of the meeting so far?
This is the seat of government for the profession, right? And this is where issues that are important to everybody are discussed, debated, as you've been seeing, wheeled and dealed before they even come up for a vote. But this is how you get involved in your profession and can make a difference.
Absolutely. What did you think this morning? We had some interesting meetings, proposition meetings. We had a finance meeting. We were introduced to our new CEO, Megan. She had some really great, telling leadership plans.
I'm very optimistic about what Megan is bringing to the profession and to our association. I think that she has a strong pedigree of leadership in her previous role with the hospital association. And I mean, if you're the CEO of a hospital association, a state hospital association, and you're in a negotiating room with other CEOs of hospitals, with legislators, with doctors, you have to navigate a lot of sensitive issues and really bring people to the table. So I think she's a positive for our profession and can make a difference.
I always say she's navigated pretty darn well in 6 months with some restructuring and
I agree, yeah.
the vision and the plan. Your thoughts going forward on A, student recruitment, and B, branding of the profession?
Yeah, so, and I'm wearing my Make Podiatry Great Again hat, not as any political statement. This has nothing to do with national politics. We probably should just say make podiatry better. Like everybody would just agree, make podiatry better. That's what we do when we come here. We try to make podiatry better for everybody. But I think the branding campaign we were very impressed with. You can tell that a professional group put that together. And we immediately from ABPM, my other role as being a immediate past president of ABPM, we stood up and we said, we'll give you $100,000 towards this effort.
I saw that. That was fabulous.
I think it's going to make a big difference,
Absolutely. Well, branding across the board will help us, right? It'll help us if we're going into recruit students at an undergraduate institution, if they already know what podiatry is.
Right.
Instead of us defining the profession, then recruiting.
Right.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I mean, you see it on that. You see it at that early level,
right?
And where people are coming from, and several of us that interview people for residency programs, I always like to ask students, how did you even get interested in podiatry? What made you interested? Who was the person that brought you in? Because it's you learn a lot about where they come from, And I think for me right now, what I'm seeing before all of this campaign going on, I see a lot of people get interested in the profession because they had an experience with a podiatrist as a patient.
Sure.
So when they were younger, they had an experience with a podiatrist as a patient. And it shows that you can really make a difference by talking to them at that level. I mean, they might be 14 years old with an ingrown toenail or need something else, but you can have that conversation or leave a positive impression on them at that point. And another thing that I see are people that are really interested in sports medicine, because they're at that point they're teenagers. They're interested in sports medicine. They look at this as something that they can do and practice sports medicine. They may not all be that after they finally get done, and maybe they do diabetic foot work or they do trauma or something else afterwards. But I see those two things as really being the most common ways that people say that they got interested in podiatric medicine.
And don't forget the legacy students.
Legacy students, yeah.
They're also an arm of that.
Right.
I agree totally.
We have two legacies in we have our residency program at University of Texas, and I've got Dr. Caparusso's son, Luis, he's previous APMA president, and he's the chief resident now. Our chief resident next year is Alexandria Armstrong, who you've interviewed already several times, went to your school.
She went to our school.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Well, Lee, thank you for all you do for our profession. Thanks for jumping in and doing Dean's Chat on location.
Of course, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Good to see you.
You bet. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're at Dean's Chat on location. We're in Washington, D.C. for the APMA House of Delegates, and I'm with Adam Johnson, the president of ABPM. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me today.
It's always good. I just wanted to corral you for a couple minutes and talk about your experience at the House of Delegates and objectives for being here.
I appreciate that. It's been an amazing experience being here today. It's just great to see our profession coming together for the advancement of our profession moving forward. My objective being here is to help push some propositions forward that we think is going to help our profession, both for transparency, as well as help future residents, when they come out, obtain that board certification that they need for hospital privileging.
Fantastic. What's the vibe here? You have a new president.
It's been really upbeat. It's been really exciting. And of course, it's disheartening that Dr. Santi is not here. But he had that great video moment.
It was great. Yeah.
It was really exciting to see him. But overall, the vibe, it feels good. There's a lot of energy in the room, and it's really exciting to be here.
Bodes well for the future of our profession.
It does.
All right, Adam. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with me. Okay,
Appreciate
bye-bye now. Hi, everyone. Dean's Chat on location. We're in Washington, D.C. at the APMA House of Delegates, and I'm with the Colorado delegate, Dr. Eric Jaakola. Eric and I were also partners in practice back in Colorado.
Right.
It's always good to do feet on the street events together.
So fun.
What do you think of the House of Delegates meeting so far?
Entertaining and engaging. There's lots of passion. There's some strong interest in our profession that's rearing its head this year. I think
It really is. I mean, I started going to meetings early this morning, and every one of them had a really interesting, passionate vibe.
Yeah, I'll say, and hopefully not being divisive. I think it's borderline on divisive in some faction. But I think the majority, especially I'm part of ACDC, and we're really strong. We're really on the same page as the small groups from small states.
So interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. Somebody who's watching this might not be familiar with the politics of APMA. What's the ACDC?
So ACDC just means that ACDC, 1 or 2 delegates from a state, meaning that some of the states don't have as many podiatrists. And if you have up to 100 podiatrists in your state, you get 1 delegate. If you have 101 or up to 200, you get 2 delegates. So California gets a ton of delegates, and Colorado we have 1 because we have just under 100.
So then the small states band together.
Right.
And the representatives come together as a group? Is that how?
They do, and we become a stronger force as a result because we can collaborate on what we agree upon. And not that we have to vote the way the ACDC kind of comes up with how we want to vote, but we don't have to do it that way. But it makes us stronger as small groups, as small states. It's kind of like the Electoral College, I guess, kind of thing, where we have strength in numbers in that way.
That makes sense, because a lot of those states aren't like you said, California, Florida, Michigan, New York,
Correct.
things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you see for the rest of the meeting? One more day.
Good question. What do I see?
We got votes tomorrow.
Oh yeah, well, votes will be that'll be entertaining. I think it'll be entertaining. It'll be great. I really think the feel I get is the majority is really all in the right direction, in the proper direction, as far as I see it. I think we're all going to collaborate and do the right thing.
You know, I think the overall theme that I've experienced so far is that unity theme and the vision that Megan put forth this morning.
Megan has been
very impressive.
Yeah. I think Megan's going to make a huge difference in this organization, and that was really uniting this morning to hear her bring about everything that she's gone through and the changes she's making.
She's got a lot done in 6 months.
Yeah, she did. Boy, and you know what I heard from Brooke and the other board of trustees is that she really took her time and listened to everybody and sought out everybody she could to get all the information before she started making decisions. And I thought that's really respectable.
Tremendous leadership.
Yes, great leadership so far.
All right, Eric, thanks for joining us. We'll get you on the real Dean's Chat again pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Dean's Chat on location, back at the APMA House of Delegates meeting in Washington, D.C. I'm joined today by one of our young physician members. Guyana, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Dr. Jensen, for having me. My name's Guyana Wanniarachchi. I'm a third-year resident at OSF St. Catherine in Dixon, Illinois. I'm really fortunate to be here through the Young Physician Observer Scholarship funded through APMA. It's my first time at the House of Delegates, and I really enjoyed seeing how everything kind of comes together here in DC.
Oh, let's talk about that for a minute. That's a neat program. And how many young physicians did they sponsor to come in?
So I'm not sure on the amount of young physicians that they sponsored, but they had about 35 young physicians total at this meeting. And they said that back in 2019, at the meeting, there's about 4 to 5. So seeing the increase in amount of young physicians involved within the House of Delegates through different respective roles, whether they're delegates, alternates, or just as an observer too. It's pretty cool.
So you're a third-year resident right now. Where'd you go to podiatry school?
At Shoal College.
You went to Shoal, and you're also a co-resident with one of our students from Arizona, Sarah.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. What stimulated you to say, you know what, I'm going to apply for this scholarship and see if I can go to the House of Delegates meeting?
Yeah, so Dr. Brandon Gumbiner, our residency director, is always after having us, try to get in all the spaces that we can, really having us be involved within the podiatry community. And he pushes us to be the best versions of ourselves, best doctors, best surgeons. So we're really fortunate to have his leadership.
You know, as ironic as it is, he's going to be on Dean's Chat on tomorrow.
Oh my
Tomorrow
goodness.
afternoon. Go figure. So we're super excited to have him. What a phenomenal residency program. And you got to really credit Dr. Gumbiner, because it's one thing to teach and educate and make you the best doc he can, but he wants you to also be a leader.
Mm-hmm. That is a big proponent in how he leads. Is he wants to, not only be a leader, but create other leaders. And I think that's where the magic happens.
Speaking of magic, what'd you think of this weekend?
It was really inspiring to be a part of. I thought one of the coolest parts was seeing like the AMA president here, and they were saying that they haven't been a part of this for like several years.
Yes.
So having that, camaraderie, coming together moment, even between, like Dr. Bisbee, like she came in to the Young Physicians Caucus and was talking about how she'll be at the ACFAS meeting and how she's speaking with the ACFS president too. I think that's really cool to see these organizations come together for our profession.
Oh, I agree. I thought the message of unity from the AMA to the APMA was special. But I have to be honest with you, the collaboration within the profession this weekend, everything from, for example, we're going to start a branding campaign for the entire profession and the student recruitment initiatives. What'd you think of all of that?
It's really cool to see how everything's changing and like everyone be excited for the profession of podiatry.
Yeah, I was really excited too. Well, this is the end of day 2. Are you staying for some of the congressional things?
I'm headed back to Chicago after this.
Oh yeah, no rest for the weary. A third-year resident. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on
Thank you
Dean's
so
Chat,
much.
and I look forward to talking with you in the future. Hi everyone, Dean's Chat on location. Joe and I are reflecting back on this wonderful House of Delegates meeting in Washington, D.C. And one of the lasting impression I have, Joe, is the leadership that's been exhibited by the House of Delegates and the Board of Trustees. And it was just so incredible to watch Dr. Brooke Bisbee be installed as the president yesterday. Well, what a great leader.
Absolutely. And what a beautiful speech that she delivered in her acceptance, and having that massive rally of support of friends and family, and to hear that very emotional tribute to them, because none of us get to where we are without the support of the people that help get us here. And I really loved that. Like again, you can feel the goosebumps when those moments where we really have that human connection. And her speech was just absolutely brilliant, talking about, the unification of our profession and the support that we want to provide to students and young members and all members, all levels of association. And it was very inspiring.
Yeah, I think she did a wonderful job. And really the Board of Trustees in total just did a phenomenal job. And I think we should do a shout out to Lauren.
Absolutely.
Lauren Worcester is
Absolutely.
A young Board of Trustees member. Is he a young practitioner? Is that what it is?
Yes, they call him YP.
YPs. All right. Well, she's from Arizona.
Yep.
And we love Lauren.
So we're biased.
And do you mind commenting on the proposition that was she proposed and was ultimately approved?
Yeah. So, and this is really remarkable too, is to be an observer and watch the governance and how different opportunities can present and how it gets proposed and all of the formality behind it and how much attention to detail. It's quite humbling, and how much work that Lauren put into 2 different proposals, both supporting young practitioners and supporting students. And again, it's just so humbling, to see that energy and to see the profession rally around her and support it. It was really awesome.
Well, giving the students a voice, I think is so important.
Absolutely.
They have skin in the game. They are paying top dollar for a tremendous education. But it's only right to give them a voice in the future of our profession, because they are the future of the profession.
Absolutely. And to show them that support by saying, we hear what you're saying, like, we want you to be a part of this. And so acknowledging their role and their importance in these organizations, I also think is really fantastic. And what about Pat DeHeer and all of the work that he's been putting in, rebranding the profession?
Yeah, it's just amazing. Megan and Pat together. I say we because we're observers, we're not part of it, but the House of Delegates actually approved the budget to start discussions on rebranding the profession. And we're talking like a $10 to $12 million campaign. And the effort, I think, is important because not only will it put podiatry on the map and people will know what podiatry is, but then when we're recruiting students and we go to an undergraduate institution, we will be talking to students that they already are thinking about podiatry. And then we have to convince the best ones to come to Arizona. That.
Because again, we have no problems disclosing our conflicts of interest, which is very much at the Arizona school, both of us being ridiculously biased, but that's okay.
Yep.
I totally agree. And I think it was also, 100% support to that financial budget. Like those things never happen.
Yeah.
Standing ovation for Megan McClellan after the financial meeting. These are things that sound very remarkable, comparatively speaking, to some of these other meetings. And, we go by so many different names and we wear so many different hats in podiatry. And as you and I have talked about, it can make it a little bit confusing to the public when they don't really know, foot and ankle surgeon, podiatrist, podiatric surgeon, podiatric medicine. It's actually all one and the same. It's just a lot of different ways of expressing that. And I thought this weekend was a nice representation of that too, really supporting the idea that it's okay that we're not all the same. We want to celebrate that and we want to lift each other up and support each other, which feels very much in line with that unification.
I think that was the overriding theme of the weekend. Collaboration, transparency, accountability, all the things that you need to be successful.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Joe, thanks again.
Dawn of a new era.
Dawn of
it's
a
very
new era.
exciting.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.